Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Heartwell Dev stream, the live stream series where I continue to develop this adorable Souls-like action RPG with platform mechanics and multiple endings. Now, if you find these dev streams interesting or helpful, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and boop that bell button to stay notified. Now, off stream, I've been quite busy working on some tile sets for the background, and while they're not implemented yet, since I'm still working on the lower well and the depths, I actually have at least finished the change in tile sets to make to improve visibility for the upper for the central well. I just haven't implemented it into our quick backdrop objects yet. On stream, however, we've been working on the stream resizing rework, a rework that will allow the game to be in quote-unquote ultimate full screen mode, which will just basically let it magnify the window size by a factor of 2, even if it's not true full screen. But true full screen isn't really doable with Clickteam Fusion 2.5 without getting some weird screen tearing. But we'll at least continue working through the rework. I mean, last stream, I think it was last stream that we actually finished documenting everything. Now we're at the point where we're simply continuing to work through stuff. So we're looking for the continue from here reminder, marking the item screen when we've completed them, and we are currently on the main menu screen. So we'll go from there. Hello, Top Rentals. Thanks for dropping by. We actually just started. Welcome, welcome. So with that being said, let's strap in, everyone, and let's continue where we left off. So I believe we were on the delete function, if I'm remembering correctly. After the buttons have been moved into place on the new UI screen, see action below. Now we find the program zones for activating the buttons to change menus. In general, the overall sizes of the selection regions will be the same, but So, chat, we need to add the new background animations. I don't think I did that on stream, so let's head on over here. So what I did, chat, I think I did this off stream. I created like a main menu layout that was like almost a 3x3, but it still has 8 save files. It just isn't here yet. So we should actually start with that first. So I'm actually going to have to pause off for 1 second in chat so I can open up some files. So be right back. All right, let's open up that information. I think it was this one. 1 second, chat, while I pull things up. I think this was the correct section of UI. Aha! Yes, it was. Okay. And welcome back, everybody. So, I was looking at the file update for this particular displays and UI rework, and I actually did this on, I think, more than 2 months ago, at least getting this relative UI here. And as you can see, it's a much more condensed layout. So imagine, chat, if this black outline here, this black rectangle here, is the viewable space in the reworked area. These would be what the new save file selections would look like, at least in theory. So what we need to do, chat, is actually modify this active object here, the background menu UI. So the way I have this working is it's directional. So basically, every single direction here, which can be assigned a value of like 0 through 31, represents a different save file being selected. So in this case, 4 represents this save file being selected, 5 represents that save file being selected, and so on and so forth. Essentially, we need to adjust this so that everything lines up with our new layout. So the way we'll start by doing that is right here. So this is our default screen. As you can see, we have 800 by 450 as the size here. We obviously can't be using that right now. So instead, we need to change it to 640 by 360. Now, of course, the moment we do this, things are going to obviously get a bit out of whack, but that's okay because this is all for the sake of the rework. So let's see here. Do I have the notes in here? I really hope I do. Yep, there's all the various template text here. So we'll go from there. Okay. So let's start by remove all. So I'm actually going to do chat since I want this to still be around. So I'm going to move this up and to the left, and so that way when we resize the screen, it's not going to be lost. At least hopefully it won't. Okay, let's go from there. Ready? Okay. So first the resize. So it's 40. Because if you're wondering why it's this value, it's because this is the new window size, at least pixels in the X direction by pixels in the Y direction that we'll have to be doing for the rework. And it actually fits on screen. How about that? Okay. So, with that in place, next order of business is to find which layer everything is on. Is it that? Aha! Okay, it's this one. So, if you're wondering why I'm copying it like this, chat, this will make it line up 1-to-1 because this is a perfectly scaled area here. So I'm noticing that we'll lose this, so just want to temporarily move that over here. Don't worry, we'll take care of that momentarily, chat. Then we'll go over here. All right. It said that you're enjoying some peace and quiet, Copper Nicholson. I'm glad to hear that. All right. So now we copy that. We paste that. Is it really? Did I miss the size here? I might have. Well, regardless. I mean, it's correct horizontally, but not vertically. Actually, no, I guess I did misalign it a bit. Okay. Well, that's easily fixed. Say no to that. Okay, so if this is 640Y, that means somewhere around 320 is where the middle is. So we want everything to be like around there. Okay, now is that more lined up effectively? Hold on. I think it is. Okay. Oh, I'll do it. Let's see here. Now, unfortunately, I didn't save this as a PNG. So I'll have to fill all these in. Okay. Seems the hitbox on the fill tool is a little finicky, but we'll make do. And as now you might ask the question, Antomicx, why are you filling this in to be clear for if the background's the same color as what I'm eliminating here? Well, the reason for that, chat, is because we're in the following frames we're going to have the same setup, except various different save files will be highlighted, and we don't want to accidentally highlight the darker background. Let's just do all of that real quick. Cool. All right. And that, chat, is the initial lineup, but we're not quite done yet. So, a couple of things we need to take care of. First of all, we need to get this back. And the good thing is that while the location of these buttons have changed, the actual size of these particular buttons have remained exactly the same. Well, almost exactly the same. I think there's... Why did I respace these out differently? Alright. Oh, this is easily fixed. So we'll just grab that. So a little bit less reprogramming since we don't want the spacing to be affected when we go to reprogram the button locations. Okie doke, that's good. And now we'll just bring on over the help text. So while it's very hard to see with this background, this is text that'll tell you the user the various controls for the main menu. We'll just zoom on in and line that all nice so the UI makes sense. Let's try and line it up like that. Yeah, it should be about even. Okay. Now, press OK on that to save that change. Now, chat, if we run the frame, and we go to the menu. Well, obviously, everything being lined up definitely needs some impact here. As you see, weird stuff happens because it's still kind of messing between it, but this is what the menu frame now looks like when we're not, when we aren't highlighting things yet. Because we haven't changed the animation frames for these yet, so that's why it keeps jumping back. But that's essentially what it'll look like in the new screen. The green area being what would be the new screen section when the screen's resized. Now I'm noticing that it doesn't quite line up with the Heartwell logo. So we may actually want to move it slightly to the left. Or I guess maybe move the Heartwell logo slightly to the right. Yeah, I think, let's see here, 1, 2, 3. Heartwell logo needs to go slightly to the right. Or, no, I think we can move this stuff slightly to the left. I need to remind myself whether the Heartwell logo is manually placed or not. $208, 123. Okay, let's try 126. I think it's Which one is it? Hello, Brector. Thanks for dropping by. How's it going? What's new in your world? Welcome, welcome. We are in the midst of actually physically programming the screen resize rework for Heartwell. So it's it's definitely a process, but we're getting there. As you can see, this is what the new menu layout will look like. It's much more condensed as opposed to the old layout. And we're going to be going for them. You just haven't been in the mood to watch live stream. Hey, no worries, Rector. Appreciate you dropping by. Besides that, what's new in your world, Rector? How's the job going? How's things with your spouse and your family and your cats? And also, how's things with the various Souls games? Because I think I've seen you playing a couple of them when I checked Discord and it says like you're working on things, working hard, playing games. That's all right. That's good. That's good. I actually just I was at the gym not too long ago, and it was essentially just doing a high resistance cardio workout, which basically means you don't run for as long, but you set the resistance really high to make you feel like you're running up a hill. Oh, since you're here, Drekor, I'm not sure if you saw it, but something I'm intending to do is to start having just chatting streams on Sunday. And a just chatting stream means I'm not doing a challenge run or working on Heartwell in specific. It's more so just me chatting with the chat. And we have I'm accepting ideas for various discussion topics in the stream feedback channel on Discord. Oh, just chatting in general. So some ideas I've seen on the Discord server bring up include like characters from the Souls games, builds from the Souls games, characters from Trails, just video game stuff in general, chatting about various shows I like the various Star Trek series. I think Ian Pluto mentioned one about favorite fast food places. And the format could take various forms. It could be like a Venn diagram where he talked about subjects and break down whether specific aspects of that such subject are good, bad, or just kind of somewhere in between. It could be like a tier list. It might be just more going to various wikis to talk about specific subjects. And I'll also mention an idea I had was if one were to talk about like Souls games, perhaps like going to a character builder and being like, okay, what kind of character would I make under that? So there could be a fun chill time. Exactly, Breckport, exactly. I think it's a good way to connect with everyone, since obviously when I'm in the middle of a challenge run, it's I'm usually pretty focused. And same thing with Heartwell. Like when I'm working on Heartwell, I tend to find myself getting sucked into the code, so to speak, trying to assess what needs to be altered. I think which one is it? There's a line I need to change here. Opening cutscene artwork. Oh, I need to physically move it, that's right. Okay. You should still have that kind of drive. Your dancing gathering dust for a while now. Oh, hey, what I find that can be helpful, Director, is making a plan, trying to stick with this. What to do to regain it. All right, well, how about this, Director? What's kind of like the current state right now? I know you say you haven't it's just been gathering dust, so I'll ask you a couple of questions. All right. Number one, do you have like a task list, schedule, or anything like that for your game somewhere? Number two is, have you set aside specific times during the week to work on your game? So I'll let you type about that while I figure something out. Okay, so we move that over there. That should make everything line up. Is that lined up? I mean, I think it's fairly lined up considering I think the Heartwell logo is 2 pixels thick as opposed to 3? Let's find out. Yeah, it's 2 pencils. Okay. Alright, so I guess we just need to work into breaking the test down some more. Alright, and number 2. No, maybe I should. Okay, so first thing I would recommend, and bear in mind, this will be different for everyone, so because everyone's different. What I like to do, being the project managing kind of person that I am, is I like to actually use some kind of calendar in an electronic format, whether that's something like Google Calendar, or there's plenty of free apps for phones that you can use for calendars. But basically, using that, I like to kind of schedule out my day, so to speak, for a typical week. So maybe if I eat breakfast at around a certain time every day, I would mark that down, and I'd mark down okay, when am I usually at work, when am I usually having dinner, things like that, when's my exercise time. And that helps me figure out, okay, what's my actual quote unquote free time that I can put to things like working on my game, or playing a video game, or working on a video essay, things like that. And then once you've done that, you can say, okay, now what days of the week or what specific chunks of free time am I going to schedule for my game development? So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it would be to simply say, okay, if it's this day of the week, I work on this thing. So let's say it's a Monday, and it's like, okay, if I have free time Monday, I work on Heartwell. And then if it's a Wednesday, I'm like, okay, if I have free time, I work on one of my YouTube video essays. Problem is that you kind of need to force yourself to stick to the schedule. All right, that's a great subject, Director, so I'll get to that. So when you come up with a schedule, Director, or let me ask you a different question. So in the past, let's say when you had your task list, for example, what was your enforcement mechanism? And what I mean by that is, who was making sure that you kept to what you were saying? Was it just you? Did you talk to a friend or a loved one about it and say, hey, could you remind me on blah bitty blah day if I'm not doing blah? Enforcement's just me. Okay. So it takes a lot. Okay, and fear of never finishing it. All right, and that's a common fear. I've personally felt that fear before as well. What do you mean you'll never finish it, Gretcore? I mean, I've been working on my game for 3 years, and I recognize it's still a long, long way to go, but at least it's progress. I think you can finish it, Gretcore. It just will take a while, But what I would say to you, Gretcore, is changing a mindset takes a while, but what can help is if you get into a routine, all else being equal, if you get into a routine, eventually your mindset's going to change. And one thing that I found quite helpful is that I have a wonderful girlfriend who I let know about my general schedule. And what's nice about that is I've asked my girlfriend, hey, if it's this day of the week and you notice I'm not doing anything, could you speak up about it? And that's helped me, because there are times where it's maybe I came home from a long day of work and I'm sitting on the couch eating dinner, and I'm just and my girlfriend will come home and ask me how my day was, and what are you planning to do tonight? And the moment she asked me that question, I realized, oh wait, tonight's a Heartwell night, or oh wait, tonight's a YouTube video essay night, and then I'm like, I gotta go do that, And their psychologists say, just in general, that thanks, Redcore. All right, and that's something you can certainly try, Redcore. So, and to be fair, Redcore, what can help is if you have a schedule and it's laid out somewhere. And, if you have you could talk to Stigma and be like, hey, okay, here's my schedule. If you notice me not doing something, you can bring that up. But also, there's something else you have to consider here, Grakor. Yep, and the other thing you need to consider is, you need to figure out when is like the best relative time frame that your mind is in the best part. And where do you think that pessimism comes from, Decor? Because understanding where that pessimism comes from can be a big, can be very helpful in figuring out what to do about it. So, circling back to kind of with Heartwell here, I know one thing that's definitely bothers me is like, okay, I have a Steam page now, and I know like the rate at which that Steam page is getting viewed, earning wish lists, things like that. It's let's just say it's much lower right now than it would need to be if I were to have any reasonable chance of Heartwell making some kind of impact when it's released. So exactly that. And that kind of worry leads me to that exact same thoughts. Like, my data design is outdated, people won't understand, blah, 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 blah. You know, and then you don't kind of get into that mind loop. So the thing is if you ask yourself, okay, what's making you feel that way? Is it just general concern, or is there something specific? And then you try to address that. So in my case, this was the case of like, all right, Steam page isn't performing to where I think it needs to be, you know, just metric wise, and in order to have the right trajectory while I'm working on Heartwell. So what that led to is asking the question, okay, what can I do about this? So I found a nice online course, forgetting the guy's name, but it's like a Steam page marketing course, and like the guy offers like a free online course just for like how to make a good video game Steam page. And I've been watching it, trying to implement tips and such from that course to the Heartwell Steam page. And eventually, my girlfriend also volunteered to help with that. And I can say that she's been super, super helpful and super, super supportive. She's really studying the course very well and coming up with various ideas onto how to move things forward. Currently, she's helping look through the process. Currently she's helping him look through some process for updated visual presentations, things like that. But the point is that was an instance where it's like I was able to confide in a loved one or a friend to find to help me understand what needed to get done, and in this particular case, even having someone else supporting you. And it's helped a lot, since I found myself, since like now that there's actually a plan to improve the Heartwell Steam page, I no longer feel this sense of existential dread, like, oh, am I going to spend years on this and then it's just going to kind of, you know, be forgotten, sort of thing. Your expectations for yourself were higher when you were still hanging out on the RPG Maker forums, and I would probably say that's because when you were hanging out on the RPG Maker forums, you had that social network, so to speak, kind of reinforcing you, pushing you on, be like, yeah, go for it, Gretgor, you know, that sort of thing. So getting yourself that kind of feedback, even if it's from just one person, can make all the difference in the world. So I'd say with that, just start small. You know, talk to Stigma, bring up what's bothering you, and really try to dissect, okay, where are these worries coming from? Like, what are like the big pain or pressure points? So in my case, it was like the Heartwell Steam page, and now there's a plan. It's like, and we're proceeding with the plan. It's like, all right, now there's a vision. Now we're not wandering through the darkness, you know? And that takes time. But if you're willing to stop and think about it, take a couple of weeks to sort it out, it's really, really worth it. It's really, really liberating. So that's why I would encourage you to do Readcore. And hey, if you want, psychologists generally say that it's best to have at least two sources of social reinforcement if you can. So basically, like, if you had like two friends, for example, saying like, hey, Chuck, are you doing the thing you said you'd be doing on this particular day? That can be a good motivator as well. So if you want either me or Copper or anyone else on the Discord server to be that second source, we'd be more than happy to, as long as you tell us what your plan is. Now I know I went off on. Of course, Raptor. Yeah, feel free to like post a schedule and stuff. We'd be more than happy to ask about what you're up to. Because Raptor, like, I know you have it in you to make a really excellent, a really excellent puzzle game, if that's what you're interested in making. Because I saw what you made with, I'm trying to remember the name of the character. I know it's a matchmaker. It was Matchmaker Carol, right? Yeah, exactly. It's like, I saw what you made there. I'm like, this is really well put together. Like, I really liked it. Like, it had proper difficulty progression. All the areas were very different. It made good use of gameplay mechanics. It had a nice story. It's like, you got it in ya. Like, you clearly got it in ya. It's just more so like being able to think long term about the project and breaking down what you need to do in your, you know, in the day to day to make it digestible. Okay, so we move that. Now that's all lined up. We're going back to UI. That's right, that's what we're doing. Current project is an action adventure, which implies there are several more moving parts to it that he needs to take care of. And out of curiosity, Raptor, are some of these moving parts things you've never programmed before? Are these like first time for you? Like to, you know, give me some background. With Heartwell, for example, the idea, several of them, well, you want to know what something I told myself, Gregor, when I was, you know, making what would eventually become Heartwell? A rule I followed to make sure that I didn't get burnt out when I was working on something that was very, you know, something I had never done before. I've said many times on stream that I have 2 rules for making a video game. So I consider the most important rule to be make a video game that you would want to play, but the other rule I always mention is you need to, if you're trying to develop something and like you're really trying your best at it, but it just isn't working, or it's extraordinarily time consuming and it's the amount of effort you're putting in isn't justifying what you're trying to accomplish, you drop that particular idea and you move on. And it's basically what that means is develop within your means. So in my case, with Heartwell, like I had never made a 3D, well, a pseudo 3D platforming engine, for example. So in my case, like, you know, I had never had the ability to jump in a pseudo 3D space like this, like do something like that, like unheard of for me. Like this was a new thing. So this took a lot of trial and error to get right. It took, if I'm not mistaken, just getting the idea of the 3D movement. However, once I started to try programming it, just the very fundamentals of going from space to space up elevation took only about a week. Like a week or two, but like slopes and stuff, that took at least a few months. But it was like I was building on a system until I got, you know, this in principle, not with like all the animations and stuff. But that's an example of me trying out something, an idea that I'd never done before and it worked out. There has been stuff where I tried stuff and it didn't work out, and that was those who search in the Heartwell Discord server way back to like some of my earliest posted clips will notice that there used to be a 4th bar in the top left corner. So there used to actually be a blue bar up here. I think it was some either between the yellow and red bar or the yellow and green bar. And the idea of that bar was supposed to be something called Spirit, and that would be for like super attacks or unique abilities for each of the weapons. And this is also when my idea for this upgrade system was for each weapon to have like 20 unique different things to invest your points into. But the thing was, like, I worked on that for a little while and eventually realized, like, this is scope creep. Like, if I actually go through with a system like this, just simply developing the RPG mechanics for it, it not only would be a balancing nightmare, but also, like, especially coming up with all sorts of different animations and such for super attacks and, like, balancing around that, especially with all, like, the collision boxes and stuff. It would have been completely unmanageable. And at that point, I had to really take a hard look at it, like, okay, what do I really want to accomplish here? And while the specials would be nice to have if I had, like, a team working on this, I had to accept the fact that I'm one person. And that's what led to the much more condensed and, I think, you know, streamlined system we have here. It's still complicated, don't get me wrong, but this was took a lot less effort to develop than the 20 plus, you know, the 20 something still system that it would have been. And it still maintains, you know, there's still inspiration here from it. I mean, we have the specials here. These 4 specials are very reminiscent of those kinds of skills, but it's a lot more manageable. The more variables you add, the harder it becomes to balance. So if there's so sometimes it can be worth it, like, to have what I call a planning session. And what a planning session is, it's a session where you don't actually program anything. You instead kind of look at your task list, you look at it kind of holistically at a high level, and then drill down into specifics about what needs to be done for each section, while also asking yourself the question, okay, what's the value added here by doing this particular thing? And then you can assess whether or not scope creep has happened and how to adjust and so forth. And it can be scary when you see something you're like, perhaps this is some scope creep kicking in, because that means you have to really brainstorm different ways to accomplish something and really ask yourself what matters. But at the end of the day, you should always be thinking back to that question, what ultimately matters? Fundamentally, what's the minimum viable product to make my vision come to reality? Now, counterpoint. Suppose, on the other hand, let's say I was having difficulty doing something that I know in my heart of hearts I absolutely want in my game. So, as an example of that, music. Like, I wanted nice sounding music for my game. And I didn't... Well, but the thing was, I wasn't really much of a... I really hadn't ever practiced it composing up to that point. That's an example of identifying an area where you're, you know, where you're not quite where you need to be to reach your vision, and then you need to assess, okay, how can I meet that need? In my case, my options were either to hire a musician or to learn how to do it myself. So I chose to learn how to do it myself, and I signed up for, you know, a music theory class, and that music theory class helped a ton. Like, it's a night and day difference, the music I composed before and after that class. So that can also be a situation where maybe you're working on something like, man, I just don't have the skill set to do this, or I don't even know where to start. That might be your cue to be like, okay, what would it take to get me to be competent enough to do what I want to do? Maybe it's some kind of self-study, maybe it's taking a class, maybe it's hiring someone who does have that skill set. But that also comes with the project management. Anyway, I know I'm rambling a lot here, Rekor, but just to keep it simple, take the time to look at, you know, at what your various tasks are, create a simple schedule, set aside some time to work through it. Everything that is worth doing takes a lot of work, doesn't it? Oh, indeed, Rekor, indeed, 1000%. I mean, the Heartwell demo took 3 years to make, Rekor. And it still has quite a bit of polishing to go before I feel like it's in a state where I'm like, yes, the fundamentals are strong, let's move on to making the rest of the game. But that's okay, because it's one of the wonderful things about game development is no matter how clear of a vision you think you have for your game, the end product is never going to be exactly what that vision is. But on the other hand, that also means that the end products might do things you never thought were even possible when you first started working on it. Just like when you're writing a book, you might have a sense of what the theme is, but you won't really know how that's evoked until you've gone through the process. And as you're writing it, you might even surprise yourself as you're writing it and realizing, wow, I didn't know I had this story in me, you know? All right, now, back to this. So we got our first frame here. This is our template frame. And we are going to propagate this to the different frames. So copy that, paste that. And we're propagating this until we've done all 8 frames here. And the idea here is that each one of these different directions, chat, you notice how this is highlighted in white here. That's to indicate which save file is being selected. So first we propagate. And once it's all propagated, we'll go back to graphic scale and grab our highlighted section. And then we'll go from there. All right. So, okay, this is the first one. This should be blank. This is the second one. This should have this one highlighted. Alrighty. So first things first. Let's start with removing all that. Copy that. Okay. First one. Second one. Third one. Okie doke. Fourth one. Fifth one. Sixth one. Seventh one. And finally, eighth one. All right. And now, chat, while obviously the alignment for the mouse zones is going to be all wrong because we haven't changed that yet, it should now at least look like... Okay. Yep. Okay. So that's now a thing. Cool. Alright, so let's go from there. Okay, now we just stress this straight. Don't you worry, Gretker. We're going to get to that. The reason why it's like that is because we're still in the process of programming many things. Because as you can see, we have, well, not 94 pages. This is the entire dev string document. But for context, we are here. We are on page 7. We need to get to here. Well, no, not there. We need to get to here, which is on... Yeah, page 27. So we have a lot of notes to go through, but that's okay. The reason why we took this many notes is because this is the level of detail I needed to go to make this rework even remotely reasonable. Because having to figure this all out like in the heat of the moment, like, you know, line of code by line of code would have been a nightmare and easily prone to mistakes, which is why we took several weeks to do this. It definitely helps keep everything nice and focused. So, speaking of which, we have all those things identified. let's continue. I have not seen that, Topper Nicholson. Okay, so the next thing we need to do, chat, is stuff like this. So we need to get anything that isn't alterable text into the new format. So we'll start with, I actually think it's possible to create like a background color, not there. I'm pretty sure it's possible to create a background color for this. I just need to remember what that is. So, no. Maybe it's settings. Aha! Wait, no, that's not it. Alright, well, this will be a bit difficult to see unless we really zoom in. But we'll go from there. You're all look here because you want to do a thing real quick. Alright, sounds good. Appreciate the lurk record. Thank you. And wish you all the best with it. That's what words. It's easy. I appreciate the lurk record. I wish you all the best with what you're doing. Me now realizing that I need to copy all this text over. Did not think this through. Silly Antomicx. Okay. Oh, actually, no, that's convenient because if I copy it over like this. Yeah, we just need to remove the epsilon there. I think we have. I'll move this over here. And continue from there. Also, chat, this is our jam. Da, 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 da. Okay, so that's now lined up. It's a real shame that Fusion 2.5 doesn't allow us to have layers, because that would definitely help. Or at least I don't think it does. Regardless, the alignment here is... How many pixels over is that? 1, 2, 3. I think I might want that up first try, but we'll find out. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, I think I did line that up. Yep. 1, 2. Okay. 1, 2, 3. All lined up. Now we just need to clear things out. What? Wait, huh? What? Oh, I had a different... Whoops. Forgot we had to condense it even further. We have the P level, the M level, and the R level. which means player level, melee level, and ranged level. Nope, everything here has to have a very small amount of space. Kind of making me think back to older games like Shining Force, where they had very limited screen space, so they had to abbreviate everything, and so it would kind of be difficult to tell sometimes what the abbreviation for was for, like promotions, for example. But they did their best. Okay. All right, that's all lined up. Now we just gotta clear that on up. And we'll go from there. Da, 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 da. All right, that's all there. All right, I think after we place this text, the only other text we'll have to hand place like this is going to be the actual name of each record. Because I think everything else would be just alterable text. Okay, I'll grab that. Okey doke. I'm zooming in to make it easier to see the text against the background. Okay, and now we'll bring in the other text, so like the name of each record. I believe the names are all up here. So first we have record Omicron. I remember how when I was first coming up with this originally, he was using the actual Greek letters as opposed to the spelling out of them, but I decided that spelling them out probably would make it easier to identify them. Okay, so alright, how do I do the record epsilon? Alright, 3/5 is away, that'll do. Okay. Might as well save that for now. There's a little more to do, of course. Okay. Now for the next one, we have this one. Okie doke. So for those who are just joined, welcome. We are in the midst of moving the titles of each save file into their specific areas. And this is all to support the rework. This is all to support the rework, the screen resizing rework for Heartwell. Now, when fully implemented, allows us to make use of the ultimate full screen objects to increase the size of the window by a factor of 2, and that'll make everything significantly more readable and visible. And we'll go from there. Yep. That one's placed. We got 2 more record names to add. All right. And now just one more. Okay, let's make sure, let's check what the spacing is there before we continue. Okay. Alright, I think the spacing looks pretty good. Not for like the alterable text, that obviously all needs to be moved, but the just the actual record names, their spacing looks good. So, with that done, I'm going to have to overcopy the other things here. Well, we can copy over the highlighted stuff again. It's just that we need to make sure all the text is there. So time to copy pasta. Also, for those who have had pasta, what is your favorite pasta dish? For me, it's either would be, because I mean there's lots of good pasta dishes, but there are two that I always come back to. Those are pasta pesto and tomato paste pasta. They're both fairly simple to make and they both taste amazing. Order from there. Oh, hey, Rekor, welcome back. Welcome back, Rekor. Oh, we're able to do the thing you mentioned you want to do. All right. I grab that. Now I know we did this earlier in stream, but I wasn't thinking necessarily the order of operations there. So now we can do this. Oh, pro tip, chat: if you're copying over things into Fusion 2.5's layout like this, rather than having I should copy that before I place that in. 1 second. Anyway, so rather than having to click out here somewhere or switch to a different tool to unselect this, or it's just that, you can just switch frames if you're going to be doing this anyway. And now automatically place it. Just, you'll notice if I go back, it's already placed. Now, that might seem like the most minute of details, but trust me when I say, when you are working through, like, you know, sometimes hundreds of these frames, any little time saving helps. All right, Copper Assistant says, so that's not a pasta dish, Copper Nicholson. I mean, they're delicious, but it's not a pasta dish. So. Processed wheat does not, by definition, make it a pasta dish. By that definition, Copper Nicholson, if I make a sandwich with 2 slices of bread, that's a pasta dish. It's not. Like... So, in the meantime, if you have any other pasta dishes you want to bring up, by all means bring it up. If not, I'm not going to take you seriously. So, right now we're just placing all these back here, and now, if I've done everything correctly, we should have the ability to select through save files. Well, in theory. Obviously, the zones need to be there. Ah, lasagna. A very fine choice. Lasagna can be quite delicious, if made properly. It's also the favorite pasta dish of Garfield the cat. I remember many common strips involve Garfield eating lasagna. Alright, as we can see, so where I'm moving through where the old save file locations used to be, you notice how the as various save file sections are getting highlighted. So that's good. That's progress. Yeah, obviously right now the main menu is a mess as we're kind of in the middle of things, of editing things, but this is all necessary for the process. So, so Confidential said there are many different types of pasta if we're just talking about the bread of the pasta rather than the overall dish. So fettuccine, if we're talking about just long strands of pasta, is about as big as a pasta strand will get without it's even bigger than linguine, and fettuccine is about as big as it gets without going into the territory of lasagna or some of the larger styles of ricotta. But linguine is quite good. And then when you get thinner, you go to more of the angel hair pasta. Alrighty. Yeah. Oh. Hello, Quinn Risquan. Thank you so much for dropping by. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. We're not referring to the longest type of pasta here, though that's a fair point. Because the thing is, like, between linguine, angel hair, fettuccine, and... Let's see, linguine, fettuccine, angel hair, and spaghetti, they can all be made to a similar length. We're talking more about the radius or like the width of the pasta strand. But yeah, I have not seen very much Rick and Morty, Copper Nicholson. What about you, Quinn Risquan? Okay, so we have all that such in place. So now I think we have to get into actually programming it. So after the buttons have been moved into place on the new UI screen, I have programmed the zones for activating the buttons to change. Okay. Add the new connects. You will need to create a trim. Identify the lines of code that I need to change when the code for the save file is just as for the chain. Alright, well first we actually need to identify. So now we're around here. So we need to identify the lines of code that actually impacts that. So the object in question is the background menu UI object. All right, and we have some formulas here for stuff. So let's see here. So you go out to 1. Okay. Well, while I've not really seen much Rick and Morty, I at least know I have seen the trailer for the season 3 of Rick and Morty that introduces Pickle Rick. So at least know that meme. It's like, I'm Pickle Rick! Okay. Okay, so that's the formula we used. Okay, this is the menu page selection. All right, so looking at the formulas here, the code that we'll need to change. It's line 31. So the spacing hasn't changed, but the starting point has. I need to determine what that x value is. Two 58, 387, 542, 409. Well, since that hasn't moved linearly, that is going to require me to figure out the new values, so... Line 31, need to update the position code. Selection buttons. Action. Okay. Let's see here. I wouldn't know. My object. Let's save menu value. Alterable value need to be updated. So let's figure out what those updates need to be. 258 to 542, 3874. Okay, so let's highlight that. Obadiah. Obadiah. It's not optimal, so let's move that over there. I need to be able to actually see some of the code. There we go. Okay. So let's write some notes. First things first. We need to figure out the rough width of the zone. So 542 is 284. 409 minus 387 equals. This is one of my favorite features I've discovered about autocrats and doodle sheets, is just being able to do simple math equations like this. It saves time from having to open up any kind of calculator app outside of doodle sheets. So that's our width and our height of the zone. So this will be, so that's width y height equals so in this particular case we need to figure out what the new starting coordinate is. That's going to be dependent on where's the top? Yeah, top left coordinate. So the easiest way I know to figure that out was actually to go into this and to just zoom way in. Go to the very edge. We'll identify a coordinate. Okay, that's 0, 0, and that pixel up there. And we zoom way in. Let's go like 200%. Actually, let's go even further beyond. 600%. Now it's just really zoomed in. If we move the mouse to the very top left edge corner, you'll notice that's 0, 0 chat. That means the coordinate system in our active objects that we're editing is, it's a one-to-one exact coordinate system. With that in mind, we can use that fact to find out the exact coordinate we need. In this case, by going down here, we essentially need just the top left corner here. So that's this right here. That coordinate is 178, 321. All right. One 178, 321. If we did our math correctly, that means that the bottom right corner here should be 178 plus 284 is 182, 262, 462, 343. Not quite. I am surprised. I wonder if I made it so that it was supposed to be from like the... We're off by 2 pixels, which leads me to believe I think we might have expanded the reach just a smidge to make things a bit easier to identify. I know that doesn't make any sense either, because even if we did it, grease it, it wouldn't. Why did I do it that way? Oh, may I have to go over for the thing to work. Well, let's try edge to edge, so 460, 340. I think I might add a pixel in the left and right direction. Alright, and that also means that the applicable regions where we need to... The x-coordinate regions we need are 271, 272. And 366 to 367. Those are the zones where we shouldn't be collecting anything. Okay. That's probably something to do with the formula, doesn't it? Always the starting position plus 1. So maybe we need to go from 177, 321, and 461, comma 340. Okay, let's try that. I see. Since it's always that plus 1. That means the change 259 to 178. All right, here we go, chat. We're going to make some edits. One 77, 321. All right, no. 461, 321. 340. Okay, then we'll go to 271, 272. These would be the zones, right? Upon respawn asks, what am I doing? So right now I'm defining coordinate zones for the buttons to change between the save file menu, the options menu, and the credits menu. So they're the three. You can't see it right now because it's not displaying on the animations right now. But the UI has three buttons on the bottom of the main menu to switch between the different menu tabs. And this is used. These coordinate systems are used as my ways to program it so that the mouse, simply by using the coordinate system, is able to define which menu to activate by changing an alternate value that's based on an equation. But in order to do that, I need to define some dead zones to make sure that the user doesn't collect in the space between buttons and end up on a menu. That is why I am doing this. So this is the first dead zone. Now let's program the second dead zone. That's what all these numbers over here are all about. So 271, 272, and 367 are 2 pixel wide dead zones between the buttons. Alrighty. And now we've got 321 to 340. Okay. So that edit's done. Now for the tricky part. This right here, chat, is the equation that will determine which menu frame we end up on. And this is makes me hesitate. So I'm just going to copy pasta that as, for the sake of posterity. Old equation. Now we need to edit this value from 259 to 178 and do the same over here. If we've done everything correctly, in theory, the buttons should now work correctly. Though it's going to be tricky when I'm on like the next frame, and it's going to be confusing because I won't have the right UI for it. But for now, this is just a preliminary test, if you will. Let's try it out. Okay, chat. So I'm immediately realizing a problem. If I try to left click there, I'm going to immediately get myself entering a save file, which is not what we want. So I don't think I have. There's some leftover code. Delete. That's how I delete that. Nothing should change. What's that there? Main sits. Main sits of what? Alright, so I'm going to temporarily inactivating the save file menu stuff, so that way we can test out. Okay, so now that I can't accidentally select the save file menu, I should be able to test out the zones here. Okay, so span left click, nothing's happening there. Good. Now if I go over here to the left, nothing should happen. We'll temporarily turn off the radio because I have the settings here. Okay, well, the UI didn't change because it's... I think that code might have been disabled. Oh, that took me to my YouTube channel, apparently. Whoopsie daisy. Other settings. Oh, I think the reason that's happening is because it must be overlapping with the link. Yeah, it's clearly doing that. Silly move. Okay. Alright. Right now, I'm just testing the very edges of the limits. Okay, now we're back on the vectors page. Good. Now I'm going to very carefully try to come up at this from the bottom. Okay, okay, it needs to be one further below. And what about up here? There needs to be two above. Yeah. Okay. So that's why I got the other coordinates. So in principle, that works. We just need to increase the y coordinates a little bit. So let's show 341, 319. And that should fit that. We'll have to be for the time being. All right. Oh, you mean the main six of My Little Pony? I would probably say my favorite of the main six would be Fluttershy, at least right now. What about you, Copper Nicholson? Now if we go up one. Perfect. Now let's see here. Okay, I slide the mouse down one. Good. Alright, I think, chat. So these buttons are now all programmed correctly, so that's good. I think. Well, let's we're going to click outside here. Okay, nothing happens, good. Now I move in one. Yep, and now I'm back on my YouTube channel again, silly me. Alrighty. That's one edit completed. So we can mark that as green. Better reactivate that. That's good. Cool. All right, now let's turn the radio back on. So chat, I consider that progress because we actually literally just reprogrammed some of the buttons. So line 31 has been officially reprogrammed. But we're not stopping there. As they say, we're just getting started. There's still more to do. But bit by bit, we will get through this. I mean, so far from what I've seen, because I mean, we've only seen the first like the first couple episodes of MLP, besides a couple of random episodes from later seasons. I mean, during that first section, like Twilight definitely had the most growing to do, whereas Fluttershy literally befriended like a man. It was like some kind of what was that creature called? Literally befriended a chimera. It's like, what? I think there's a major difference in power levels there, Copper Nicholson. a direct on-net threat. So basically, it was like it was some kind of thing that was clearly meant to be a mythical monster, and yet Fluttershy befriends it. It's like, listen, if Fluttershy can befriend all like the mythical monsters, then like that's it, like game over. Like, you don't need to be the strongest, you just need to be or the smartest, you just need to be the, I guess in this case, the friendliest. So because the show literally is all about friendship. Also the fact that they befriend a literal deity of chaos. Like, can you imagine like the power by, you know, by extension? It's like, I may not be powerful, but my friends sure are. And if you're opposing me, you won't be for long. Like that kind of thing. Okay, all seriousness. Where were we? So identified line 31 is one that needs changes. But just because line 31's change doesn't mean that's everything. We have some other things to alter. Okay, so I think these... Yeah, this is just for making things invisible, so... That doesn't need changed, but this definitely needs changed. Yeah, save file, my new equations. Oh boy. There is a lot to do here. We need to completely redefine the save file zones. Which I think we might actually be able to do by hand. Oh boy. Yeah, so lines... I'm looking at these equations, I'm like, oh, this is gonna take some calculations to figure out. But that's okay. So we need line 36, 37, and 38. Okay. These lines have... It's both in the main code on the left and in the need the XY coordinates to be changed. It's and or offsets to be changed. So that's what we'll work on next. Honestly, I think the first thing to do is going to be identifying these new zones. So how wide are these? 162, 878. Oh, that's 184 if I... Yeah, that'd be 184, which lines up with the equation. Yep. Yeah, so these zones are literally just the rectangular spaces we have to work with here. Old save file region size 184 by let's see 114. Yeah. So I still think it's 184 wide, because I don't think I unwidened that. Wait, what? Yeah, that's also 184. So the width actually hasn't changed, but the height most certainly has. $813 to $880. Yeah, that's 67, so it's much, much narrower in the vertical direction. Okay. So knowing that, you need to define the zones. And this should be by equation. Okay, between each frame is 5 pixels. Horizontal gap between save file regions 5 pixels. The new vertical gap is also 5 pixels. However, the final 2 save files will need to have a different offset. So that's 37 right there. That's 133 there. 96. New additional horizontal offset for the final 2 save files. 96 pixels. Just the previous save file layout was just 2 rows of save file of 4 save files each, but this one is there's 3 rows, but the bottom one obviously only has 2 save files as opposed to 3, and it's shifted over a bit, so that's going to be something I need to account for in a new equation. So with that in mind, I think we do well to start identifying the new equation, well, the new locations. So we have our starting point here, 37 by 97. File. All right, 37 by 97. So in theory, if this is correct, it should be 37 plus 184 and 67 plus 97. Let's see if that theory holds up. All right, 221. Yep, that would be 221 if we had the 37. And the 164. It's 97 plus 67. Yep, that lines up. Two 21, 164. File abbreviation SF. So we'll have SF1. Yeah, we'll go from there. Okay. So going off the equation here, chat. SF2 should be 221 plus 55? No, we have to have 5 pixels in the middle, so 222, 223, 224, 225, 226. You have to actually have to add 6. So it should be 227, comma, 97. And then the other gaps we have here, so 184 and 67. So we have 411 and, well, 164 then. Let's see if my theory holds up. So, yep, there's the 227. And if I did this correctly, 411, 164. Yep. Okay. That just leaves 417. Let's see here. 417, 601. Okay, it's just a 164. And the nice thing about this chat is, at least for the second row, the x coordinates will be identical, but the y coordinates will be different. Yes, this is a pattern. Chat, this is our jam. As we continue to identify these new regions. Let's do this. All right, 170 and 237. And that holds up because 237 minus 170 is 67. So now we just copy these because, again, it's a pattern. So these three coordinates here. Well, these zones right here represent these three right here. Now for the last group down here. Okay, so 133 and 243. That should line up with our adjustment there, since we said we need to move that by 96 pixels, and that does line up. Because 96 plus 37 is 133. All right, 317, 310. All right, 323. $243. Okie doke. Oh, hey, Drekor, welcome back. You're back from lurking. All right, what were you up to, Drekor? We're in the process of finding new coordinate systems, define the new coordinate regions for these 8 save files, since the save file UI looks quite different from the way it used to. A lot more condensed now. 507. There it is. Okay. All right. And now that you feel less angry, Drekor, do you feel like you're ready to plan out like when you want to work on things and kind of take a look at like what your task lists are, try to break it down to simpler tasks? Not simpler tasks, but break it down into like steps to achieve larger goals. Because I find that helpful to help them need to get to that. All right, well, consider this your reminder then to get to that. Be more than happy to try to optimize at least a bit on my business. Well, hey, why not take this opportunity right now to get a head start on it? Because after all, Drekor, since you're here, this is actually a place where you can bounce ideas or ask questions. So, and also you have all of us rooting for you to give it your best shot. So this is probably the best place to at least get started. Oh yeah, sounds good. So we have our new coordinate zones defined. So that's a major component of this done. But of course, that's only one part of this, since even though we've defined the components, the offsets are going to be different. So actually, no, the irony is that I think the ETS offsets, well, actually, no, I don't think they were used to be as spaced out. Is like twice a week too little, like twice a week for like 2 hours? Good question. So, I'm going to give you a bit of a caveat answer, Dr. Warren. That's going to be like, it depends on what your availability is. Like, if you've got, you know, a ton, like very, very little availability, then, you know, twice a week for 2 hours is great. But on the other hand, if you've got, you know, a fair amount of free time, and the only way to really know for that, oh no, chat, we have a bot in chat. Prepare the emote spam, chat. We might spam emotes time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to pick your favorite emotes as we do all we can, and to death as I try to take care of this bot. So Dr. Ordaz, I'll be right back. It's been a while since we've had to get rid of a bot, isn't it, chat? Well, don't you worry, I'll take care of it. Give me 1 second. Okay. And where is my thingy? /ban. All right. And with that, the bots has been taken care of. Thank you everybody thank you everyone for contributing to the emote spam to make sure that that bot was taken care of. It's also been a very long time since that's happened, so it's almost a bit nostalgic in a way. All right, but now that we've taken care of that, where was I at this? Offsets, that's right. That's why offsets. So I genuinely forget how spaced out I kept the thing previously. Which means there's only one thing to do. Open up the original version real quick and take a look. So I'll be right back. Alright, so let me just open that on up. I was looking at some information in the background chat. I'll be done in a second. Okay, so from what I can gather, the old save file horizontal gap between save file regions was 6 pixels. We hold vertical gap between file regions. Oh, I need to figure that out. Give me 1 second. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14. All right. So with that identified, cancel out of that. And close that. All right, welcome back, chat. Sorry about that. I just need to figure out the correct offsets from what the old UI used to be, so I opened up a backup file. I'm aware that this plot stream is on there, Director. I was just looking for some information in my backup file while trying not to portray any spoilers or things like that. So I've identified the correct this information. So the old horizontal gap between save files was 6 pixels and the old vertical gap between save files was 14 pixels. Why does that matter? Because I need to dissect my own equations basically here for how I'm splitting apart the different record values here. And so for example, it's the x-coordinate equation. There was some information here. And I need to make sure that I have this all properly spaced so that everything works correctly. So 191, is that the distance between 23 to 242? Why is it 191? There has to be some reason it was 191. So what I can think is 184 plus 7 is 191, so it's like one above what that is. So we'll go from there. So x mouse minus 23. 23 is the starting value there. So, time to dissect the equation. So, old record value equation. So, need to break this down. Where 23 and 18 are the starting are the XY coordinates for the top left corner of the first save file. (191) is equal to width of the save file plus gap between the save files, horizontal gap, plus 1. Let's figure out what 118 is. No, 128. So did I ever write down what the... Okay, it was 114 tall, so 114, 128. So yeah, it's literally the same logic. So 118 is equal to the height of the save file. So that's 114 plus the vertical gap between save files plus 1. Actually, no, it's not plus 1, is it? I wonder why that is. Because the gap's 114. Then we just add 14, which is... So there's no plus 1 there, but the other one had plus 1. This is 184 plus... Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So based off these coordinates, chat, I should, in theory, have everything I need. Just double checking to make sure nothing here actually needs edits. I don't think. Oh, what is that? Okay, those will need edits. Those are all about positions. Alright, so line 72 needs some edits. Actually, no, that doesn't. Yes, it's the same position from so object. Actually, no, those still need edits. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, so the various strings. I'll save. It's updated to align with the new save file layout. Okay. Therefore, let's do the new record equation. So basically, chat, I'm going to take this and attempt to turn it into the new values. So we know that 118 and 23 are the XY coordinates of the first one. So 3797. All right, and then for the other ones, So you have the width of the save file plus the horizontal gap between the save files plus 1. So it'll actually just be 190 because it's slightly more condensed now. -4 plus Y, the Y mouse. I have the save file, so in this case, 67 plus the vertical gap between save files. 7 plus 5 is 72. All right. That should suffice. Now to actually edit it. I have many things to do here. Highlight them in cyans as an indication that those need updated. All right, let's do this. All right, we have 3 lines of code. And we have our hopes and dreams chat. Let's make this happen. Alright, so this will be the zone for the first save file. 37 to 221 and 97 to 164. We'll copy in our new equation. Might as well copy in the equation while we're here. Copy pasta, copy pasta, copy pasta, 4 more copy pastas. Alright, thanks for dropping by, Quinn Clown. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a good rest of your night. All right. Now we got that. Let's start adding the other coordinates. So $227 for 11. 97 and 164. This will be for the region for the second save file, chat. E27, 411, 97 and 164. Okay. That's the third save file. Four 17 to 601. 97. 164, and I'm immediately realizing that the new equation needs updated. Because it does not account for the offsets at the lower portion. Need to update. What does that look like? For 1797 to 164. Now we have 37, 170, 221, 237. Okay, time for the fifth one. 227, 411, 70, 237. Right, now for the sets save file. So we have 417, 170. No, that's not 170. 601. 170. And 237. Deduct. Now we have 133, 317, 243, 310. Everyone, while I'm pausing here, chat, it's just to make sure that everything is double check that I got the coordinates all right. Then we have 323, 507, 243, and 310. That should have everything all lined up now. At least for that, but the equation still needs updated. Okay, so thinking about this, We have a floor of that. We need something that's conditioned on the yeah, so ultimately what we need is a further offset over there. So that additional one is 96 pixels. So I need some way to check for whether or not the floor value. Let's see. So we have Y mouse. I need to check whether if Y mouse is greater than 6. Alright, let's see here. So I need to create another equation like right in here just to give an additional boost if something is to the x-coordinate under certain conditions. So where is that? Okay. $243. So 243 needs to be our break off point. That's times floor Y mouse. I'm sorry about that, chat. Need to remember that I can't use the numpad. Okay, so Y mouse minus 243.0. It can't be below 0. Actually, we should divide by 243.0. And then within there we'd have our +1. That's that parenthesis, and that's this parenthesis. Second parenthesis goes to here. +1. That ensures we could end up with a negative number. Which is why I think this is what the +1 is for. So in theory, this should help with the offset. All right. So I think this new equation will work, but we need to test it out. Uh-oh. Actually, no, I think that's what I want, isn't it? Yes, we want that floor value. No, it was something that we did at +1. Then we have all that. Okay, that lines up. Okay. Okay, now to copy down all of our new coordinate zones. Two, 3, 4. Five. Oh, by the way, Copper Nicholson, if you keep spamming the stuff that the bot was spamming, I'm going to, per server, per the stream rules, I would have to ban you from the stream because that's not appropriate behavior. Thank you. Oh, also, Director, how are things going? Did you make some progress with your planning? Right now, we're making some good progress with our coordinate system here. Okay, now we delete the old stuff. Ah, I see. Hey, Drakor. What about your Dando stuff? That's your planning? I still have a lot of thinking to do before I have submit to paper. Well, I'm of the opinion, Drakor, that it's important to write down things, even if it's not like set in stone, even if it's just ideas. or just thoughts, because that helps clear, that at least helps clear my mind. So if you're afraid to, you know, wherever you've written down your current notes, to add stuff to that, you can always make a separate document and open it up next to it. So that's going to be by personal preference record, but at a certain point you have to just make a decision and try it out and see if it works or not. If it doesn't work, you adjust. But indecision accomplishes nothing. But at least if you try and fail, you at least learn something. You know? Like, if you're uncertain, like, what your availability is, just start by trying to understand what your general times that you're busy are throughout the week, and then assign game dev time accordingly. That's where a calendar can really come into play. And then once you've created a calendar, you know, just a weekly calendar, you give it a try and see how it works, you know? And make adjustments as you need to. Me personally, I find I'm most productive either in the early mornings just after I wake up, or immediately after some kind of exercise. And thus I structure my game development times and my video essay writing times to be in moments where those circumstances tend to line up. Yep, I said I'm at my most productive either in the early morning or immediately after I've had a good workout. If I weren't able to fit either of those circumstances in, the third circumstance would usually be after one of my main meals, whether that's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Let's see. One second, chat. All right. Okay. Sorry about that, chat. Just want to grab a snippet of the old coordinates, just in case we need them for some reason. Now let's get back to what we were doing. Grab that, grab that. Grab that, grab that. Okay. All these need to be negated, so... Okay, now I think, yeah, okay, we got to bring over the equation from there. So copy that, paste that there. All right, chat. This is the moment of truth. The moments where we'll see whether or not the save file selection function still needs to be updated, but this will just see whether or not the selection function is working correctly. So we're going to pause that music. We're going to run the frame. Let's see. Okay, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. The fact that that highlighted correctly. That's a good sign. Alright, might need some adjustment there. I'm noticing I'm a few pixels off on the left side. Actually, no, is that how it used to be? It might be. That's just simply has to be the orange part that's on it. Maybe that's the intent. Yeah, I think that's the intent. Well. Okay, let's try vertical. Yeah, the orange part's on, so I think the vertical's good. Okay. Chat, look at this. It's beautiful. It's glorious. I can't believe... Chat, I'm not gonna lie. I am genuinely impressed that I got that equation first try. I was really expecting to have to do some more complicated stuff, but no, that's it. That's the right equation. I mean, granted, I think I'm noticing like there it's like if you're like at the rightmost edge doesn't quite line up correctly, so I think that could be adjusted with like the equation itself could be adjusted. So what would that adjustment be? Would that be just adding a 1 at the end, or how would I do that? I mean, then again, I think that's how it used to work, is it wasn't quite fully, and that's just, you know, it's not like the orange part of the mouse isn't quite on it yet. Yeah, I think that, okay, you know what, never mind, that's I think this'll do. It doesn't actually have to do line up. All right. Okay. Well, before I go into making minor adjustments to the equation, I'm going to check the old version real quick, chat. Just to see how it lines up. Let's pull that on up. All right, chat. So this is my backup file, and the reason we're doing this is so that I can see how the mouse lined up with these files before. Okay, it was literally the exact same thing, where we needed the orange to be, the orange part of the mouse cursor to be on the applicable frame. I think, yeah, so I think it lines up fairly well. Let's check it with the current version. Okay, I might need to add a 1 to the lower portion of the frame, because I think before it was like if the other portion was on top of it, it worked out. Yeah, as you know, it's like a tiny little pixel isn't quite on there. Well, yeah, I guess if we leave it with the orange of the mouse having to be on it, then I think it makes sense. So you know what? We made a good equation. That's what we have learned. We have made a good equation. So where does that leave us? That leaves us having to make a number of other edits, but it's good progress because it's showing that these edits can actually work. So I believe there's some other things I need. So while this is all fresh on my mind, chat, I want to make sure to add these edits to the various values here, since that is going to obviously have a significant impact on things. Yeah, right now I'm double checking everything. Okay. So for this, we literally just need the mouse pointer zones. We don't actually need anything else. So let's get our mouse pointer zones. Bada bang, bada bum, bada bang, bada boom. Let's see here. Bada bang. Continuing here. Bada bang. Let's see here. Bada bum. Oh, ow. Okay. Whoops. It's not quite what we wanted. Bada bang. Bada bum. Bada bang. Oh, sorry. Bada bang. Grab on that. Bada bum. So, Drektor, what's So, Drektor, for your new schedule for like game development / free time stuff, would it help if I gave you some kind of due date for it, or do you feel confident that you can get it implemented by the time of, I guess, by this weekend? All right, 37, 227. I turned the radio back on. Give me a second, chat. Boop. Okay. 7, 417. Hmm. 133. All right, and 323. All right. So I put all the new coordinate values. And in theory, this should allow me to access my different save files. In theory. Let's test it out. Okay, so, in theory, chat, if I left click, this should take me to record Omicron. Okay, I believe this is record Omicron. It's hard to tell because I don't have the values up. Okay, I do see the 47 there. A 45, a 59. And I believe it was record new that had the level 31 tomahawk, so let's try that out. Yep, level 31 tomahawks, level 21 fists. Looks good. Cool. What's with all those stray numbers on the screen? No, so all those stray numbers that you see on screen, Rekor, are basically where the save file used to line up with all the displayed values. So, like, this is actually like the values for record new, and up here is for record Omicron, because it used to be a 4x2 grid, but now it's a different grid. So all these values, their positions are going to have to change to fit this new style. But yeah, so Gregor, what I was asking you earlier is, do you feel confident you can get a schedule for yourself implemented for, like, whether it's game development or just how you want to structure your free time? Or would it help if I gave you some kind of due date so you at least have a goal to try and hit, so to speak? Because I find sometimes if I give myself a due date, it can help focus my energy on what I'm trying to accomplish. But yeah, so now, chat, the actual act of selecting a save file works correctly. But the delete function will still need to be updated. But just even the sheer fact that the save files are working correctly now, that's good to see. Especially given that this took, you saw, Chad, what we did here was not trivial. It was a lot of algebra, a lot of checking values. But it was worth the effort, because now our save files setup is moving in the correct direction. And with all that being said, I think this is the delete function. I'm pretty certain that nothing but line 72 has the coordinate values that need it to be added. Hey. Nice, Redcore. I'm glad to see that's working as well. Yeah, see, Copper Nicholson voiced his opinion. What do you think, Redcore? In regards to that schedule you're trying to develop. Let's see, set the delete function, at value on, that's good. Yeah, so the nice thing is, because the record value is being defined up here, it actually makes everything else a lot easier. Yeah, so looking at it, yeah, the delete function starts at 72, like I wrote in my notes. So that's all updated. So what I'm going to do, chat, is I'm going to mark this as green, which means completed. I'm going to move the... There you go, I'll start trying to do a little bit of game dev on Mondays and Wednesdays. Alright, that's good to hear. At the time you used the stream in the past. Alright. And have you written that down somewhere, Grecor, that's your game dev time? You know, specific hours and everything. You put on your phone. All right, good. So now, Brekor, the next step obviously is to try it out. And in the interim, if you find yourself having a, you kind of feel like we're playing Dark Souls 1 now, you know, like, hey, that's fine. It's important to find ways to de-stress as well. I've been having fun, like off stream. Sometimes when I want to just play a game, I'll go do, I have a couple of different games I have where I try and work on like some challenge runs off streams just for funsies. So let's see here. I'll do a continue from here on 4 dash, what's 2 weeks from now? 5/2/2024. All right. I'll move this over here. All right, and this is where we'll pick up during that stream. All right, so I think this will be a good spot to wrap things up, chat. So if you're watching on Twitch, feel free to stick around for a raid. But if you're watching on YouTube and like what you saw, please consider subscribing on YouTube. It's free to subscribe on YouTube. You can always change your mind later. That's a great way to show support. If you're watching on YouTube, have an amazing night.